Good Saturday morning. This is the Working Man Trader Weekly Recap, and we're going to go over best trade of the week. I'll take and show you the worst trade of the week because we need to see those so we can learn and know what not to do next time. And we'll get into the stats and just kind of go over some things and see what we're going to try to work on next week. But let's get into it. So here on TradeViz, that's where I download all my trades and keep track of everything. But you see I took 58 trades for the week, 48 wins, 10 losses, no break evens. Win percent was 82.76%. Profit factor is 3.564. If you don't know what that means for every dollar I lost, I made $3.56. And then total P&L for the week is right there. There's my week in trading. It is all green, yes, but like I said, I did have 10 losses through the week. So, and we're going to go over the losses also. We're not just showing the wins. So here's my best trade of the week. And it's on NQ. I also took it on MNQ, but you see, this is a bread and butter setup here. Break a structure down, got a pullback, waited on the entry trigger, got the entry trigger, got in here, got out down here, and quick in and out in a 5-minute trade. But that's what I'm just trying to get a base hit, be in, be out. I'm not trying to wait around, don't have time to do that a lot of times because got to get to work or I'm at work. So if I'm at work, I can't be sitting there watching all this happen. So I just want to be in and out real quick because I'm sure I'm like most of you. I don't have time to sit here and watch the computer all day long. So now that's my best trade of the week. I'm going to show you my worst one for the week and why it was my worst. Here is my worst trade of the week, and it's totally my fault, obviously. And this is normally a good trade setup. But my only problem today or yesterday on Friday was I skipped over checking the higher time frame. And I don't know why I did that. I usually don't. I usually check, this is the 5-minute. I normally check 15-minute, 1 hour. And okay, I also check 4 hour. Make sure there's nothing in my way. Do I have a free road to make my move I'm wanting? And some reason yesterday, I don't know if I was in a hurry or what, but I just totally forego. I didn't look at the 1 hour. So, and I paid for it, as you see. I got stopped out quickly. But if we look on the 15-minute, there's nothing in my way. It looked okay. But when you go to the 1 hour, I was not clear. Even though the entry was up here, we have too much going on here with the SMAs, and they are not an indicator of an entry, but they help with timing. That's all I really use them for is timing. They got nothing to do with the market structure. The market structure is what tells you when to enter. But so after I got stopped out, when I switched and looked at this, I thought, well, no wonder it didn't go. We were pointing down here, the 200's flat, the 8 is pointing down. We're not in a good position here to get continuation up. And so that's why I got stopped out. And if you look at the 2-minute or the 2 hour, it shows the same as the 1 hour. The 2 hour is, we're too exhausted on the 2 hour. So it had to come back, and it did. And I got stopped out. So that's just part of it. And if you keep looking, I was too far away from these on the higher time frames, but just part of it, live and learn. I normally don't do that. I've been pretty good about watching everything, but for some reason I just didn't Didn't look. So that's my worst one for the week. I'll quit rambling on and we'll get on to some more here. Now I'm going to make one more point on this trade that I lost yesterday. And that is, if you see here, we had a bearish SMT, and I totally missed that also. Not on my game yesterday, everybody has those days, but you see, we swept the high here on NQ. We swept everything to the left. But when you look down here on the S&P, on ES, um, it did not sweep that high. You see here, we did not break it. We did not get over everything. And so that should have told me there that I should not be going along because we had a bear. They're not in agreement. If these two are not in agreement and we get a SMT, then this is not the real move. Going up is not the real move. And it wasn't. So that's something else I didn't catch also. But just a little tip to be sure that you check and make sure that you don't see this happening and having bearish or bullish SMT when you're trying to go short or long. So just be sure you check this when you're trading futures here. Now, for the most part this week, I was pretty patient, waited on setups, didn't get in a hurry. There were some days where I sat there and I waited an hour and a half for a setup to get ready. And sometimes it just takes that long. I just happened to be off this week from work, and so I just sat here around and waited. But if I was at work, you kind of know, you check your chart every 20 minutes or 15, 30, whatever you can. But I would say that was my best thing for the week was being patient and waiting on these setups to happen. And it paid off. It was a good week. And ended the month green. Good month. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my best trade and show you why I exited where I did and why that was my price target. And it's really simple. We're going to use the fib retracement, and you'll find out this really projects your price targets very well. If you're using the right leg and know where to use it. But we're going to go from this is 5-minute chart. We're going to go from the swing low to the swing high of this pullback. And then you see I took profit here. Now remember, all these levels are just a range. So, do you want to stick right to it or do you want to be just shy or just below? That's up to you. But I wouldn't get hung up on staying on that exact little spot. Now, I always try to play on the conservative side and be just shy a little bit because you'll find out a lot of times price will run just shy of where you really think it's going to go. And then, you don't get the max profit. You might get a break even or half of what you were wanting. So just a little tip. This is how I used to check my price targets and where I'm going to go to, even though I don't really know. And you can also use the 15-minute time frame and find those liquidity pools. I also do that, and that's why you see the blue lines on my screen. A lot of times I will mark those out for the next trading session and have those also so I know where price is heading. But just another little thing that I do, and hopefully that'll help you guys when you're looking for where price is going. So for this week, patience definitely paid off for me. That's what really got me a good positive week and a positive month. But also on the other hand, being impatient did cost me. So, and not making sure I had confirmation, not checking higher time frame on the charts yesterday, like I said, that cost me probably one of my biggest losses for the month. So we're going to make sure that we take time to do that, and you be sure you take time to check the higher time frames when you're trading. Don't let that ruin a trade. Just take a few seconds or have multiple screens up where you can see them and make sure you check the higher time frames. Make sure you're clear and nothing's in your way. And so that's it for the trade recap. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to go through some prep for the following week, or it'll be Monday morning. I always do prep for the day before or the trading session before. So I'll get things prepared tomorrow morning, possibly for tomorrow evening when Asia opens up. So come back, check that out. We'll go through and get things prepped.